So apparently, even after we keep telling you not to have one source of income, you people out there, there's so many people out there who still think it's okay. Like, how sure can you be? It's good to have faith, but there's faith that can destroy you. You know that. It's very dangerous to have or to rely on one source of income. Because even sometimes you can have even two sources of incomes and kinaumana. Kinaweza umana. Like now, you see people who are using nini. If you had like a second source of income, maybe you were doing these online jobs and your money was in PayPal. Right now you see PayPal wamefungia pesa ya watu. In Kenya mostly they don't want, it's like they don't want to do business with Kenyans because wanatusumbuanga sana. So imagine if that was your only source of income. Maybe you are doing work online and you're getting paid. No, kwanza, they've done the maajabu, the unthinkable at the end of the month. The moment, ile time you're supposed to pay bills, to pay for what, that's when they are bringing issues with PayPal. I'm here today to talk about that, the dangers. I'm here to hit the nail on the head, to make you understand, even if I get through to just one person, understand that having one source of income is not good. Okay? It's very dangerous. Stay with me. And welcome to my channel. I talk about personal finance, building wealth, women empowerment, life in general, money, without pretending that all of that is just stuff that is easy, because it's not. Okay? And we can't assume because one person knows that everybody else knows. No. So I also try to spread word. Because it would be unfair to think that everyone is well informed. So, if this is your first time here, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and don't forget to turn on notifications bell so that you're notified every time I upload another new video. Okay. Now, one source of income. I think if you have only one source of income, you're trading on very deep waters. Okay? And if you don't know how to swim, well, the sharks might feast on you. I'm here to give you reasons why having one salary or one source of income is very dangerous. It's too dangerous for anyone's liking. You should never relax just because you have a job or you have one thing that's bringing you money. Actually, that should be the reason why you're looking for another source of income. Even if it's your own business. Because we saw you see the time of maandamano. You have a business, you never know if your business is the one that will go down at that time. So it's not just about the people who are employed. It's also to the people who are self-employed. Even farmers. You've seen people doing poultry, and then there's a disease. Unaamka and all your chicken are gone. Zote zimekufa. Anything can happen. So if you really only have one source of income, this video is for you. Okay? And you can also share it if you think you can help somebody else. Now, the biggest danger is because you give power to one thing. When you're totally dependent on something, you're giving it a lot of power. So it means this controls you. You won't be able to do a lot. You'll become too loyal to something that is not written on stone. So there's total dependency on a single source. So in case of something like a job loss, or the company you're working with goes bankrupt, because me, there was a time I was working in town. There was a company I was working with. They went bankrupt. You know, we weren't even fired. That guy, alichotwa. Tulikuwa tu job. We went to work like a normal day. We didn't know kumbe our boss was, I don't know what he was doing. So we just came, sijui ni the bank ama whatever. They came and chukuad everything. Tulifukuzwa kazini like kama tulikuwa wakora. These are some of the things that make me hate being employed. Yeah. The company went bankrupt. For some people, you're laid off. You don't even know. You're not prepared for these things. So these are things that eliminate your income or your salary 100% overnight, within a fraction of a moment. Whether you were seeing light, it has become dark. That's very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Another disadvantage is there's no leverage for negotiation. Most especially when you're employed, because if your boss or your employer knows that you don't have a backup plan, they can control you. They know you're desperate, you're willing to do anything, you'll be willing to do anything for them to maintain that job. And now, when it's time for you to go and ask for a raise, it will be very difficult. Because they know even if they say no, you're not going anywhere. You don't have any other option. Utalala njaa. So that's you giving them power. And that's why sometimes even if you're looking for another job, you're told don't go and say you're just desperate and yet hauna mahali pa kutoa chakula. Because now when you tell them your problems, wanakufinya, unaona mtu ana feel like they have power over you. Whatever you'll be given is like scraps. Hata kama ni job unatafutia, utapewa job ya ujinga sana. So it's always good to tell them, yeah, I have something small on the side I'm doing. Let people know. Hata kama ni kuku unauza mayai, let it be known there's something else you're doing on the side. It will favor you. Okay? Because also at the same time, nobody wants to work with someone who's desperate. They're working and you're giving desperate vibes. Me, I'm just chill. You're my colleague. You start overdoing. Kumbe you're desperate. It breeds contempt between colleagues and at your workplace. So avoid that. Another reason it's too dangerous is when it comes to wealth building, it slows it down. So there's slow wealth building. Okay? There's nothing that boosts your finances, your money. Hakuna kitu ati inaweza tokea on the side to help you. You're relying on that one salary that you have. So it means you don't have investments. There's no surplus that will ever come out of investments because you don't invest outside. You don't have things like dividends that at the end of the year there's something small you can get from that. You don't have like a side business that can give you, even if it's 10k or 50k in a month. At your side business, you don't have something that can surprise you with money. And surprise money is good because most of the time that's the money you invest. That's the money we try and tell you like hiyo pesa yenye haukuwa nayo because you are surviving without it. When you get it, invest it. So now you're there because you have a salary. You have no high risk, high reward opportunities out there. Hata ukizisikia, you would not invest in them. That's very dangerous because it will take you forever to get to the finish line. You might not even get to the finish line. And even if you get to the finish line, it will be a different kind of finish line and you'll be broke. You'll have nothing to your name. All you'll have to say is, yeah, I worked with so-and-so company. You've not met those people. All they have to their name is where they worked. You don't. Yani hata haumjui jina. Wewe unamjua na kampuni alifanyia kazi because the company is the one that carries the name. not them. They built nothing under their name. That's very dangerous, because it makes you also become irrelevant in this world. Don't you think that's unfair? You're told in life, try and leave a mark. Hata kama ni kadogo, leave a mark. And you know the problem with these companies. If something happens to you, they replace you very fast. They don't even think twice. Even if you die, they'll pretend they'll come for your one day mashakaya, they come for your funeral, and within a week, you're replaced. And maneno yako imeisha hivyo. Another disadvantage is salaries. For example, people who are employed, the salaries lag behind inflation. And that's why you're seeing prices of stuff, everything just keeps increasing. The other day, fuel, the prices went higher. So if fuel is up, commodities go up. Because even if you decide you want to go and get that bread from the supermarket or from the shop, see, that bread was taken there by a truck or something. See, that truck uses fuel. Okay? So whether you like it or not, prices of things become commodities. The prices just went higher. But now, your salaries remain the same. The other day you had with the finance bill being passed in Kenya, the price of food, rent, healthcare, almost everything, the price is just going up. But the salaries still remain the same. Even education nowadays is very expensive. But your pay remains the same. There's no raise. So a solution to it is you create more income, so you can be able to fill those spaces, those gaps that are made. And this is good because you'll be able to fill those gaps without asking your employer for permission. If you decide to rear pigs, and one becomes, fat enough to be sold or big enough to be sold, you don't have to ask your boss for approval to sell and get that money. You do it alone. Okay? If you get your salary, you put some money aside, maybe 10%, you put it in an investment or in recurring revenue assets. That's all. Another disadvantage of depending on maybe like a salary is you have like a built-in ceiling. Because let's say you're employed and they tell you we'll be giving you 50,000 a month. Imagine that's your ceiling. They can go beyond that. That's what you'll be getting. So if you work for that company for 10 years, that's your ceiling. And this is because, you can't blame anyone. Employers control your pay range. So you'll find promotions and things like raises are limited. So solution to this is you go out there and develop a skill. Find something that you can do that can bring you more money. Break that ceiling for yourself. Because you can't wait until the day or the time the employers decide they'll break it for you. Develop skills that can monetize you, can help monetize you independently. Something like consulting, coaching, or even building something like a digital asset. Something that is not tied to the hours that you work. Okay? This is me telling you or teaching you how to take control over your life. Because I think it's unfair to just because you're employed, you think you've arrived. My dear, you've just started. Now, another reason why it's too dangerous to rely on one source of income is because things like emergencies, they can overwhelm your paycheck. Especially if it's a single paycheck. One small emergency, an accident, a sickness, these medical bills, family crisis. And these things, they don't knock. So one day you go to work, you come back, you're told, see what happened, something was destroyed or is damaged and it needs repairs. Like these people, you've seen them. You buy a very huge TV and then you go to work and you come back, you have toddlers. Unakuta, they broke the screen, they damaged the TV. So it means, if ever you are to buy another screen, your next salary, maybe even probably all of it, will be drained trying to fix that thing. Salary yako yote ya mwezi mzima inawezaisha trying to recover or to fill in that gap or to fix that gap or to pay that bill or something. And that's why we are out here telling you, have an emergency fund, save at least 2 to 6 months worth of your expenses, even 3 to 12 months. It doesn't necessarily have to be 6 months. Imagine even if you're able, don't cap it. Just keep putting money aside. Do that before a crisis hits, because this life, crisis will happen. You don't know when, but it will happen. Imagine. Just for you to be ready when it happens, you have to put money aside. Stop relying on that your salary. Utaumia. I speak this since kwa sababu mimi nimeumia. Hiyo maneno ya kurely na salary. Unafutwa kazi. There was a time I was so angry I quit my job without thinking. I was young. I think I was in my 20s. Nilikasirika kacha kazi. Kiliniramba. That's when I learned the hard way that sometimes it's nice to have a backup thing. But don't wait to learn the hard way. Don't learn the hard way like me. Another reason why having one salary or one income is dangerous is because there's risk of burnout. And when you're burnt out financially, it becomes dangerous. And this is because when you rely on one job or you're taking one job too seriously, it can mean you taking a break is impossible. Because if you take a break, kwanza siku hizi you take a break, you come back to work, you find they've replaced you. By the time unajaribu kujitetea hapo, you've lost. So because of that, because you don't want to ask for a leave, you don't want to ask for a raise, you don't want to ask for time off, you keep working, and then you're always stressed, and all these things come with health risks, which are not even worth it. So that you can imagine now you getting sick and they're not even paying you well and then you have an emergency, you have to go to hospital because now you're overworking, you're not resting, your body has become umeanza kupata mashida. So you see, it's not worth it. It's always great to have something to land on. So you diversify. When you diversify, it gives you strength to walk away sometimes, okay? You'll be able to step away without losing everything or without the fear that you risk losing it all. So go out there and build more passive incomes. Stop relying on one thing. It's good to know, even if you decide this week, I want to rest this week, that even if they decide to give you leave and they don't want to pay you, you'll be okay. Because there's companies, they only pay you when you work. So when you go for leave, they don't pay you. But if you have something on the side going on that's giving you passive income, you'd be okay with it. Another problem or another danger is technology right now, or AI, can be used to replace you if you're not careful. Especially if you're not even improving your skills. You're not trying to learn something new. At Kenya ulisoma university, that's what you're standing on, or you're just... If musicians, right now, there's music that is even thriving, that is made by AI. Art is thriving, that is made by AI. There are jobs, things secretaries would do, now AI is doing it. And now you're seated there thinking, you're content because you're hired and sasa ume relax. Imagine that's not possible. You risk being replaced. Because even me, that's why I'm telling you, I've learned a lot even with my business, with my cake business. Because as much as I run it from home, I literally am the founder the director, the manager, the cashier, the customer care, there's everything. But now I have to learn, if my images don't come out properly, I can use AI to generate something more better, okay, than pay someone in town to do it for me. So you see, that person has lost the money. I would pay someone to generate like a poster. I use AI to do that. For something like chatting with clients, we are using things like Zendesk, okay? For common responses like hi, how much is cake, you know, those questions that have the same answers, recurring questions, we are using things like Zendesk, okay? People are embracing technology. And you're there sitting, not trying to improve your skills, not trying to learn more, not trying to embrace technology. Just because you have that one salary that made you relax. What will ifika? Remember, AI and automation right now is rapidly growing, changing, or eliminating jobs, people's jobs. But then again, that's how we normally say, yeah? With all these problems, there's always a solution. That's why I say, as much as you're in that position, learn at least an AI tool that can help you. Learn something, learn a skill. Learn these new skills and find ways how these new skills can build income for you. Okay? Income streams that will leverage technology and not compete with it. Otherwise, if you don't do that, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, and you'll be outside here crying with the rest. Okay? Last but not least, something like retirement is hard to fund with salary alone. Hey, salary. Retirement is hard to fund with salary alone, especially nowadays where you can't even stay in a company for like 10 years. It is becoming difficult. And also you're always advised to always look for greener pastures, you know, for better salaries. So you see, the more you keep changing companies, pia pension inaenda iki. You get what I mean, yeah? Building a retirement fund on a salary, on a paycheck is difficult. Because when this paycheck stops, your retirement fund stops. When you stop, it stops. A paycheck stops when you stop working. It doesn't continue coming. And that's why we talk about passive work. Something that can still make you money when you're not using muscle, when you don't have necessarily to be present, you don't have to be there. Like for me, I might have made a video 2 months ago, but as long as someone clicks and watches it, I'm still growing. That's one way or another passive work. I just make this video about this topic once and I post it. And someone who needs that information, they'll just click on that video. I don't necessarily have to repeat that video again. It's the same as building something like a digital product. You make it once, good enough, you can sell it for a very long time. It's the same as these physical things people do. You buy an apartment or you build an apartment and you rent it out. You do it once and then it can make you money for years. So for your retirement to be safe, you need to start investing consistently in income producing assets. And you know, assets don't necessarily have to be big. Assets don't necessarily have to be land. Assets don't necessarily have to be apartments. Assets doesn't necessarily have to be these huge trucks or tractors or having 10 matatus. No. Assets can also look like stocks, bonds, ETFs, investing in things like rates, and a business. All those are assets. Okay? That's why we need to be so open-minded. We need to stop looking at things in one angle. Anaitwa kukua one whatever. We need to start seeing things differently. We need to unlearn the old way, the old methods of doing things, and learn or relearn new ways of doing stuff. When it comes to money and finances, especially when it comes to money and finances, when it comes to building wealth, you gotta think outside the box. Otherwise, utatoboa. Nowadays, even people are telling you, there was a few years ago, there was land to be sold to you. Nowadays, there's no land. Hata kama kunayo, you need to be very careful. Otherwise, you'll be scammed. So, people are investing in other things. You cannot still be dwelling or thinking like someone, the way you were thinking 20 years ago or 10 years ago is the same way you're thinking now. And it means you're not growing. And that's very dangerous. They say stagnant water smells. So you gotta think about that. You need to be careful. Do what it takes. Force yourself. Open up your mind. Learn new things. Learn skills. It's not easy. I know being in your comfort zone has its own disadvantages and advantages. Don't lean more towards the advantages. Hey, no. That's dangerous. So start investing, and when you do that, you do it consistently. And lastly, you see something like financial freedom. Yeah. It requires ownership, not labor. For you to be financially free, haki ya Mungu, you have to own something. Sawa. The person who's owning a building is the one who's walking towards financial freedom than the guys building that building for him. Because the guys building, they are laborers. You need to own something if you're on your path towards financial freedom. So this is me asking you, what do you own? What right now, as we speak, what it is that you can say you own? Or you're just a laborer? Your work is to wake up, go work for somebody's company, get paid, go back home, and the cycle repeats itself. For how long? And yet you're seated there saying you're working towards financial freedom. Imagine, stop fooling yourself. And because you can't fool us. You're fooling yourself. You see salaries, they reward time. Okay? But you see something like wealth. Wealth is built through owning assets that work while you sleep. Those same assets that I've mentioned, whether they are old school or new school, whether they are digital or non-digital, as long as it's an asset and it works for you while you sleep, that's you being you on your path to financial freedom. Okay? That's you building wealth. That is wealth right there. But if you're being paid for time you've worked, ukombali, my dear. Hey, ukombali. And you need to find something so you can try and catch up, bwana. Do something, my friend. Juwezi ishi mbali milele. Hey, catch up. You need to catch up, my friend. And that's why in 2026, you have no excuse. You have, hata afadhali ikue ni, it hasn't worked out for you yet, but you've started it. Okay? And that's why I'm saying there's digital ways and non-digital ways. For example, having an apartment, building apartments, that's non-digital way of building wealth. Things like digital skills, okay? Digital products, digital art, selling digital music, that's digital ways of building wealth. Okay? Old school, ilikuwa ni shamba. Nowadays, people, instead of land, there's people who will buy land and rent it out. There's people nowadays, you can put your money in rates or ETF or bonds, even money market funds. The same way mtu analipwa shamba yake itumike is the same way you'll get some money, you know, interest or whatever, when you invest in this akina passive forms of getting money, infrastructure bonds and stuff like that. So that's why I was saying, now we have no excuse. You can't say that we don't have land at home, I would have built. See, then you invest in an ETF. At you, I really love the matatu industry, or I love transport industry, I would really want to buy a trailer. Okay, before then, see, then you invest in a bond. Invest in something. Yeah? Until then, until your money is imefika ya kununua kenye unataka kununua. But there's no excuse. Okay? At least even have 3 digital products you're pushing out there. That when you sleep, somebody might decide, it looks like something that can help me, they can buy it. You wake up and you find you have a few dollars or euros there. So work towards owning something that produces value passively. Okay? That produces money or gives or makes you money passively. This can be intellectual property, digital assets, rental property, or equity in a business. All those are ways you can make money passively. So the danger isn't in having one salary. The danger here is believing that that one salary of yours will be able to protect you forever. I'm here to burst your bubble and tell you it won't. Security comes from multiple sources of income. Okay? So you having one source of income, you're not secure. That's why I said you're walking on dangerous waters. You're treading on thin ice. You're just there skating on thin ice, and then when it cracks, roho inaanza kupigia zii huku. Naanza kusikia heart palpitations hata hapa kwa macho. So, security comes from having multiple sources of income, having an emergency fund, having investments and assets, all working together. If you can be able to have all of those, well, you are as secure as they come. Okay? Then, if you have an emergency fund, you have assets, you have all those things, then we can call you wealthy. Okay? But if the only thing you have is a salary, even if it's almost $500,000, well, you cannot classify you as a wealthy person. So, even you can get someone who has a salary of 600,000 a month, but as long as they don't have investments, they don't have assets, they don't have an emergency fund, they are as poor as they can be. And this is because you can find someone who, if you listen to most of our videos, you'll see I talk about luxury lifestyle, that trap. You get a salary of $500,000 a month, but pia life yako, you get 550K a month, you spend 600. So it means hata uko na madeni. As yes, when we look at you, you have the best car, you live in the best places, but even you're not even buying a house, you're renting these apartments. So you have a salary of $500,000, you rent a house for almost 150,000 Kenya shillings. Gari yako ni the most expensive power cars we see outside here. Inakunywa mafuta, unaweka mafuta ya ngiri 10, inamaliza inakwambia I need more fuel. So kazi yako wewe ni kutengenezea watu wengine pesa. You are paid that $500,000, you're paying rent, and then you're stocking your fridge like nobody's business. Because you live in a very huge apartment, you have like 3 workers, you're feeding them. You have people in your house. Yani pesa yako si ya kukaa, ni ya kupita. So money is just for you, pesa tu ni kupita kwako ikienda. Na haiendi kwa investments, it's not going to investments or assets or emergency fund, you're not saving anything, but you're living life large. You're not wealthy. You are as poor as they come. So when we are defining poor people, we will categorize you with your big car and you living in that lavish estate. Because, as I say, you're trading or you're skating on thin ice. So if you're fired, if something happens, you're done for. Maneno yako imeisha. And that's why you see people, 1 minute they're okay, next minute they can't afford to maintain the lifestyle they were living because they were biting more than they can chew, or because they were naive to think life will always be like that. Hey, things change. The same way the weather changes, the same way people switch up on you, it's the same way your boss can switch up on you. It's the same way AI can come and it just replaces you. And then now you're looking for someone to buy your big car. One salary is too dangerous to rely on. Okay. Yeah. Find something else that can put you in or place you in a better place in life. So you stop panicking. Ukisikia kuna layoffs. The company wants to lay off some people. You start panicking. You're worried. Because you never did something on the side. Yeah. So you think about it. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. I hope I was able to convince you to go start something on the side. Well, if you need help, if you need to talk to somebody, I offer one-on-one coaching. You can find the link in the description. Reach out and we can plan something. Okay? Yeah. Other than that, for everyone else who's trying to build a second or third source of income, congrats. Let us know how it's going for you in the comment section. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's it for us today. I'm Miss Moikapi, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.